Imagine for a moment that there is a person living in your house who hates you. Every morning when you wake up, they are standing by your bed, whispering that you are too tired to get up. When you look in the mirror, they point out every flaw. When you sit down to work on a project that could change your life, they remind you of every time you failed in the past. They tell you to play it safe. They tell you to be quiet. They tell you that you are an imposter and that sooner or later everyone is going to find out. If this person were real, flesh and blood, standing in your room, you would kick them out immediately. You would call the police. You would fight back. You would never tolerate that level of abuse from a stranger. And yet, you tolerate it every single second of every single day because that voice isn't a stranger. That voice is your own mind. Most people live their entire lives held hostage by their own psychology. They believe that the thoughts passing through their head are absolute truths. They believe that when their brain says, "I can't," it is a statement of fact rather than a feeling of fear. This is the great tragedy of the human condition. We are gifted with the most powerful tool in the known universe, the human brain. But for the vast majority of us, that tool is malfunctioning. It is working against us. You are here because you feel it. You feel the friction between who you are and who you could be.
You know, deep down, that you are capable of more discipline, more focus, more success, more peace. But there is a wall. There is a resistance that kicks in the moment you try to elevate your life. That resistance is not the world holding you back. It is not the economy. It is not your boss, your spouse, or your upbringing. It is the wiring of your own survival instincts. This audiobook is not about thinking positive. Positive thinking is a band-aid on a broken bone. It covers the wound, but it does not heal the break. We are not here to comfort you. We are here to perform surgery. Over the next 10 chapters, we are going to dismantle the psychological structures that have kept you small. We are going to expose the mind for what it truly is, a biological machine designed for survival, not for greatness. If you are finding value in this message so far, and you are ready to take control of your own potential, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the premier audiobooks. By doing so, you join a community dedicated to mastery, and you ensure you never miss a lesson in self-governance. Now, understand this. The journey we are about to take requires courage. We are going to look into the dark corners of your subconscious. We are going to challenge the lies you have told yourself for decades. It will not be comfortable, but it is necessary. By the end of this audio experience, you will no longer be a slave to your impulses.
You will no longer be a victim of your moods. You will learn how to detach from the noise, how to rewrite your internal code, and how to turn your greatest enemy into your most lethal weapon. The war for your potential is fought on the battlefield of your mind. And until today, you have been losing. That ends now. Chapter 1. The Traitor Within. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, who is talking right now? Not the voice of the narrator you are listening to, but the voice inside your own head. The one that activates the moment you wake up. The one that started planning your day before your feet even hit the floor. The one that reminded you of the embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago while you were brushing your teeth. Who is that? Most of us assume that voice is me. We assume that the stream of thoughts flowing through our consciousness is the essence of who we are. We believe that when the voice says, "I am tired," or "I am not good enough," or "this is going to go wrong," it is reporting the truth. We treat these thoughts as facts, delivered by a reliable reporter. But what if I told you that the voice in your head is not you? What if I told you that for the vast majority of your life, you have been living with a roommate who actively dislikes you? This is the first step in your awakening. You must recognize the traitor within. To understand this,
Let us look at the nature of this internal commentary.
Does it support you? Does it cheer you on? When you look in the mirror, does this voice say, "You look strong today. You are ready to conquer the world"? Or does it zoom in on the blemish, the wrinkle, the extra weight? When you have a bold idea, a new business, a fitness goal, a desire to speak to someone attractive, does the voice say, "Go for it, you have nothing to lose"? Or does it immediately present a 20-point PowerPoint presentation on why you will fail, why you will look stupid, and why it is better to just stay quiet? If you are honest, you know the answer. The voice is critical. It is fearful. It is judgmental. It is relentless. If you had a friend who followed you around all day, critiquing your every move, whispering doubts in your ear, and reminding you of your past failures, how long would you keep that friend? If a stranger walked into your house and started shouting the things your mind whispers to you, you would call the police. You would view them as a threat. You would recognize them as an enemy. Yet, because this voice comes from inside, you grant it total authority. You let it drive the car. You let it make the decisions. And this is why you feel stuck. You are navigating your life using a map drawn by a traitor who wants you to stay small. We need to dissect this traitor. We need to understand its texture, its tone, and its tactics. Have you ever noticed how quickly it contradicts itself? One moment, it screams that you need to work harder, that you are lazy, that you are falling behind. So you decide to work. 5 minutes later, the same voice whispers that you deserve a break, that you should check your phone, that it's okay to procrastinate. It berates you for being lazy, then seduces you into laziness. It screams at you for being lonely, then fills you with social anxiety when you try to meet people. It is a chaotic, bipolar mechanism. It is not a singular rational self. It is a reactive machine. The scientific term for this is the default mode network, the parts of the brain that light up when you are not focused on a specific task. It is the wandering mind. But let's stick to the visceral reality. It is a noise generator, and the signal it generates is overwhelmingly negative. Why? Why would your own mind be against you? We will explore the biological roots of this in the next chapter. But for now, you must understand the psychological reality. The traitor is programmed to seek problems. It is a problem-solving machine that, in the absence of a tiger to run from, will create a tiger out of a shadow. It scans your life for discrepancies. It looks for what is missing. It looks for what is wrong. This means that if you are 99% successful, the traitor will fixate on the 1% failure. You can have a wonderful day, but if one person looks at you the wrong way, the traitor will replay that moment on a loop for hours. It does not care about your happiness. It cares about its own validation. It wants to be right. And to the traitor, being right means confirming its suspicion that the world is dangerous and you are incompetent. The tragedy is that you listen. You engage with it. You argue with it. When the voice says, "You can't do this," you start a mental debate. You try to convince yourself that you can. But by debating the voice, you have already lost. You have acknowledged its validity. You have stepped into the mud to wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. The most important realization you can have in your life is this: you are not the voice. You are the one who hears it. Take a second to process that. If you can hear the thought, then you are the listener, not the thought. There is a space, a tiny microscopic gap between the chatter and your awareness of the chatter. In that gap lies your freedom. In that gap lies your power. The traitor wants to close that gap. It wants you to merge with it. It wants you to say, "I am sad," instead of, "I am experiencing a thought of sadness." It wants you to say, "I am a failure," instead of, "My mind is suggesting the idea that I have failed."
When you merge with the traitor, you become a puppet. You react emotionally to hallucinations.
The traitor invents a future scenario where you lose your job, become homeless, and die alone. Your body reacts to this fantasy as if it is happening right now. Your cortisol spikes, your heart rate rises, you feel sick. You stop taking action. The event hasn't happened. It might never happen, but you have already suffered the consequences because you believed the traitor's story. This is the cost of the internal enemy. It is not just mental anguish, it is a theft of potential. Think of the things you haven't done because the voice told you not to. The businesses not started, the conversations not had, the workouts skipped, the boundaries not set. The traitor promised you safety. It said, don't do it, you might get hurt. But the safety it promised is actually a prison. The traitor is a master of disguise. It rarely sounds like a monster. If it sounded like a cartoon villain, you would ignore it. Instead, it sounds like reason. It sounds like logic. It says things like, be realistic. Now isn't the right time. You don't have enough money yet. You should wait until you feel more ready. What will your family think? These sound like sensible warnings. They masquerade as wisdom, but they are not wisdom. They are fear wearing a suit. They are the traitor trying to keep you within the boundaries of the known. The traitor loves the known. Even if the known is miserable, it prefers a familiar hell to an unfamiliar heaven. You must begin to view this internal narration with deep suspicion. You must stop taking your own thoughts so seriously. Imagine you are the captain of a massive ship crossing the ocean. The traitor is a drunk passenger on the deck, shouting that there are icebergs everywhere, that the crew is mutinous, and that the ship is sinking. If you, the captain, run around panic-stricken every time the drunk passenger yells, you will never reach your destination. You will sail in circles. You will exhaust your crew. You will eventually crash, not because of the ocean, but because of your reaction to the noise. The disciplined mind, the mind we are going to build in this audiobook, is a captain that stays at the wheel. The captain hears the drunk passenger. He does not gag him. He does not throw him overboard. He simply nods, notes the noise, and keeps steering the ship. This is the skill of metacognition, thinking about your thinking. Right now, the traitor might be active. It might be telling you, this is too hard, or I've heard this before, or this won't work for me. Catch it. Do not judge it. Do not get angry at it. Just notice it. Say to yourself, ah, there is the traitor again. There is the resistance. When you label it, you detach from it. It loses its grip on your throat. It transforms from a command into a suggestion, and suggestions can be ignored. You have spent years, perhaps decades, in a trance. You have walked through life sleepwalking, obeying the commands of a neurotic, fearful, negative narrator. You have let this internal enemy dictate your self-worth, your ambition, and your happiness. Today, we declare the end of that regime. You are waking up. You are realizing that the mind is a tool, and currently, the tool is using you. A hammer is a wonderful tool for building a house. But if the hammer starts hitting you in the face, you don't blame the hammer. You blame the hand holding it. You have to learn to grip the handle. The traitor thrives in the dark. It thrives when it is unobserved. It relies on your automatic compliance. But now, the lights are on. You are watching. Over the coming chapters, we are going to learn exactly how this traitor was built. We are going to learn why it is so obsessed with fear. We are going to learn how to starve it of its power and how to replace its voice with a new command, one of your own choosing. But for now, your mission is simple. Observation. For the rest of this day, treat your mind like a radio that has been left on in the background. You don't have to turn it off yet. You probably can't. But you don't have to dance to every song it plays. When the station plays the Fear Symphony, you don't have to conduct the orchestra. You can just let it play,
while you go about your business. The traitor will scream. It will whisper. It will beg for your attention. Let it. You are no longer the voice. You are the one who hears it.
And the one who hears it has the power to choose which thoughts become actions and which thoughts die in the silence. The separation has begun. The enemy has been identified. Now, we must understand the machinery of its weapon.
Chapter 2. The Biological Trap. Why is it so hard to do the things you know you should do? Why is it that you can have a perfect plan, a burning desire, and a clear vision of your future, yet find yourself paralyzed on the couch, scrolling through your phone, eating food that makes you sluggish, and avoiding the very work that would set you free? You might think you are lazy. You might think you lack discipline. You might think there is a defect in your character. But you are wrong. You are not broken. You are simply operating on outdated hardware. To win the war against your mind, you must understand the machine you are fighting. You are not fighting a spiritual demon. You are fighting biology. You are fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming that has one specific goal: to keep you alive. Notice I did not say to keep you happy. I did not say to make you successful. I did not say to help you build a legacy. Your brain does not care about your happiness. It does not care about your career, your six-pack abs, or your financial freedom. Your brain cares about survival. It cares about safety. It cares about conserving energy. The brain you are using today is essentially the same brain your ancestors used 100,000 years ago on the savannas of Africa. Back then, the environment was hostile. Death was everywhere. A rustle in the bushes could be a predator. Exclusion from the tribe meant starvation. Burning too many calories without a guaranteed meal meant death.
In that world, anxiety was a superpower. Paranoia kept you alive. Laziness was efficient energy management. Fear of social rejection was a necessary safety mechanism. But you do not live in that world anymore. You live in a world of abundance, safety, and endless opportunity. Yet, you are navigating this modern paradise with a brain wired for a prehistoric hell. This is the biological trap. Let's break down the 3 primary directives of your primitive brain and how they actively sabotage your modern success. Directive 1. Conserve energy. Your brain is an energy hog. It makes up about 2% of your body weight, but consumes 20% of your energy. Because energy, food, used to be scarce, the brain evolved a default setting: do nothing unless absolutely necessary. This is the biological root of procrastination. When you look at a difficult task, writing a book, starting a workout routine, learning a new language, your brain runs a quick cost-benefit analysis. It sees a massive expenditure of energy with no immediate survival reward. So, it hits the brakes. It triggers the feeling of, "I don't feel like it." It is trying to save you. It is saying, "Why burn these calories? We are safe right here. The fridge is full, the sofa is warm, stay put." This is why waiting until you feel like it is a strategy for failure. You will never feel like doing hard work because your biology is designed to avoid hard work. The feeling of motivation is rare. The feeling of conservation is constant. If you are waiting for your brain to give you permission to grind, you will wait forever. The brain only releases energy when it senses an immediate threat or an immediate reward. In the modern world, the threat of not achieving your dreams is too abstract for the primitive brain to understand. It doesn't register mediocrity as a danger. It registers tiger as a danger. Since there is no tiger, it keeps you on the couch. Directive 2. Seek pleasure. In the ancient world, pleasure was a compass. Sweet tastes meant ripe fruit and high calories.
good for survival. Sexual desire meant reproduction, good for the species. Comfort meant safety. Your brain is wired to chase dopamine, the neurotransmitter of desire. It wants the quick fix. It wants the immediate payoff. But in the modern world, this compass is broken. We have hacked our own biology. We have created super stimuli, processed sugar, pornography, video games, social media likes, drugs. These things release floods of dopamine that our ancestors never experienced. When you try to sit down and do deep, focused work, you are finding a brain that knows it could get a quicker, easier dopamine hit from your phone. Why would the brain choose the slow burn of long-term achievement when it can have the instant spike of a notification? The primitive brain is a drug addict. It doesn't care that the sugar will give you diabetes in 20 years. It wants the sugar now.
It doesn't care that scrolling TikTok destroys your attention span. It wants the novelty now. This is why discipline feels like a battle. You are fighting a chemical urge for immediate gratification. You are asking a pleasure-seeking machine to endure pain for a future reward it cannot see. Directive 3. Avoid danger. This is the most powerful directive of all. The amygdala, the almond-shaped cluster of nuclei deep in your brain, is your fear center. It is the smoke detector. And for most people, the smoke detector is broken. It goes off when you are just making toast. The amygdala treats uncertainty as a threat. In the past, the unknown was dangerous. A dark cave could hold a bear. A strange tribe could kill you. So the brain evolved to fear the unknown. It evolved to crave certainty. Now, apply this to your life. Starting a business is uncertain. Asking someone out is uncertain. Quitting a job is uncertain. Public speaking is uncertain. When you consider doing these things, your amygdala screams danger. It floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. You feel a visceral urge to run away. But what is the actual danger? Are you going to die if you fail on stage? Are you going to be eaten if the business goes bankrupt? No. But your brain doesn't know the difference between social embarrassment and death. This is why we fear public speaking more than we fear car accidents. Car accidents can kill us, but they are abstract. Public speaking threatens our social standing, and to the primitive brain, losing social standing means being kicked out of the tribe, which used to mean death. Your biology is treating a presentation at work like a life-or-death struggle. So when you feel fear, it does not mean you are weak. It means your system is functioning exactly as it was designed to functioning 100,000 years ago. The problem is that the system is obsolete. This is the cruelty of the biological trap. The very mechanisms that kept your ancestors alive are the same mechanisms that keep you poor, unhappy, and unfulfilled. Success in the modern world requires the exact opposite of what your biology wants. Biology wants energy conservation. Success requires massive effort. Biology wants immediate pleasure. Success requires delayed gratification. Biology wants safety and conformity. Success requires risk and innovation. You are at war with your own nature. This is why just follow your gut is often terrible advice. Your gut wants you to eat cake and hide in a cave. Your gut is afraid of growth. If you follow your natural impulses, you will end up average. Being average is the biological default. It is the path of least resistance. To be great, you must be unnatural. You must force the machine to operate against its programming. This is what we call discipline. Discipline is not a personality trait. It is the act of overriding your biological default settings.
When you feel the urge to procrastinate,
energy conservation, and you do the work anyway, you are defeating biology. When you feel the urge to check your phone, seek pleasure, and you stay focused on the task, you are defeating biology. When you feel the fear of judgment, avoid danger, and you speak up anyway, you are defeating biology. This perspective shifts everything. You can stop beating yourself up for having these feelings. You can stop thinking, why am I so lazy? And realize, my brain is trying to save energy again. That's cute, but we are working today. You can stop thinking, why am I so scared? And realize, my amygdala thinks this email is a tiger. It is mistaken. I will send it anyway. You must view your brain not as a master, but as a dog that needs training. A dog will bark at the mailman because it thinks it is protecting the house. The dog is wrong. You don't let the dog make the security decisions. You tell the dog to sit. You have been letting the dog run the house. You have been letting your primitive instincts dictate your sophisticated life. Understanding the biological trap is the first step in dismantling it. You realize that the resistance you feel is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. In fact, it is usually a sign that you are on the right path. If you are not feeling resistance, it means you're in your comfort zone, and the comfort zone is where dreams go to die. The comfort zone is the biological trap.
It is the warm, soft embrace of mediocrity. The moment you feel the friction, the moment you feel the fear, the fatigue, the urge to quit, that is the moment the game begins. That is the moment you have hit the wall of your programming. Most people hit that wall and turn back. They think the wall is a stop sign. You must learn to see the wall as a door. The friction is the signal that you are expanding. You are demanding that your brain adapt to a new level of reality. It will fight you. It will scream. It will try to seduce you back into the safety of the known. But you know better now. You know that the voice of safety is the voice of stagnation. You know that the urge for comfort is the urge for decay. You are not a caveman. You are a creator. You are not an animal driven by instinct. You are a conscious being driven by purpose. The biology is strong, but the will is stronger if you exercise it. In the next chapter, we will look at the specific architecture of the walls your brain builds. We will explore how it uses fear not just to keep you safe, but to keep you imprisoned. We have identified the hardware, now we must look at the software of fear. But for today, carry this truth with you. Your feelings are not commands, they are biological suggestions. And most of the time, they're bad suggestions. Ignore the suggestion. Do the work. Break the trap. Chapter 3. The Architecture of Fear. Fear is the most powerful storyteller in the world. It is a master novelist, a brilliant director, and an Academy Award-winning actor. It lives in your mind, spinning elaborate tales of disaster, humiliation, and ruin. It paints vivid pictures of worst-case scenarios in high definition. It convinces you that these stories are not fiction, but prophecies. But here is the truth you must swallow. Fear is a liar. In the previous chapter, we discussed the biology of fear, the chemical alarm system. Now we must look at the psychology of fear, the architecture of the prison you have built for yourself. We must understand how your mind constructs these walls, brick by brick, using the mortar of what if. Most people think of fear as a wall that stops them, but fear is not a wall. It is smoke. It looks solid. It looks impenetrable. But if you walk straight into it, you pass right through. The only thing that gives the smoke solidity is your belief in it. To dismantle the architecture of fear, we must first distinguish between the two types of fear, actual danger and psychological fear. Actual danger is the bus rushing toward you as you cross the street. It is the smell of smoke in your house. It is the man with a knife. This fear is healthy. It triggers an immediate physical reaction to save your life. It is purely in the present moment. You don't think about this fear. You react.
Psychological fear is completely different. It is not about something happening now. It is about something that might happen later. It is the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of poverty, the fear of being alone. Psychological fear is a mental construct. It does not exist in the physical world. It exists only in the theater of your mind. When you are lying in bed at 3 a.m., worrying about a presentation you have to give next week, you are not in danger. You are in a warm bed. You are safe. But your mind has time traveled to next week, created a simulation where you forget your lines and everyone laughs, and your body is reacting to that simulation as if it were real. You are suffering from a hallucination. The architecture of fear is built on the foundation of time. Fear cannot exist in the present moment. In the absolute now, you are usually fine. You are breathing, you are alive. Fear requires the future to exist. It requires the ability to project your consciousness forward and imagine a negative outcome. The mind loves to play the what-if game. What if I quit my job and my business fails? What if I ask her out and she says no? What if I invest this money and lose it all? The mind is incredibly creative at answering these questions with the worst possible answers.
It never asks, what if I quit my job and I become a millionaire? Or what if I ask her out and she becomes the love of my life? Why? Because, as we learned, the mind is designed for survival. It assumes the negative outcome is more likely because preparing for the worst kept your ancestors alive. But this what-if game is a trap. It keeps you paralyzed in analysis paralysis. You think you are planning or being careful. You are not. You are fantasizing about disaster. You are using your imagination, the most potent creative force you possess, to terrorize yourself. Let's look at the specific pillars of this fear architecture. Pillar 1, the illusion of ready. How many times have you said, I'm just not ready yet. I need to do more research. I need another certification. I need to wait until the economy is better. I need to wait until I feel more confident. Here is a brutal truth. You will never be ready. Ready is a fantasy. It is a horizon line that moves further away the closer you get to it. The feeling of readiness comes after you take action, not before. You do not build confidence by thinking, you build confidence by doing. The mind uses I'm not ready as a sophisticated stalling tactic. It feels responsible. It feels like you are being a perfectionist. But perfectionism is just fear in a tuxedo. It is fear trying to look fancy. It is the fear that if you produce something imperfect, you will be judged. So you produce nothing. You are waiting for the fear to go away before you act. You are waiting for the butterflies in your stomach to die. They won't. The greatest performers, the boldest entrepreneurs, the toughest soldiers, they all feel fear. The difference is that they do not wait for the fear to vanish. They act with the fear. They strap the fear into the passenger seat and drive the car anyway. If you are waiting to feel ready, you are waiting to die. The only time you will be truly ready, completely at peace with no anxiety, is when you are in your coffin. Life is messy. Action is scary. Do it scared. Pillar 2, the spotlight effect. This is perhaps the strongest pillar of the fear architecture. The fear of other people's opinions. APO. We are terrified of humiliation. We are terrified of being cringe. We are terrified that if we try and fail, people will laugh. We walk through life imagining that there is a giant spotlight on us. We think everyone is watching our every move, critiquing our clothes, analyzing our career choices, and waiting for us to slip up. This is pure narcissism. The truth is, nobody cares about you. I don't say that to be mean. I say that to set you free. Everyone else is exactly like you. They are obsessed with themselves.
They are worrying about their own bills, their own insecurities, and their own spotlight. They do not have the mental bandwidth to obsess over your failure. If you try to start a YouTube channel and your first video is bad, nobody is going to hold a town hall meeting to discuss how terrible you are. They will scroll past it in 1 second and forget you existed. If you start a business and it goes bust, people might talk about it for 5 minutes over lunch. Then they will go back to talking about themselves. You are letting the fear of these fleeting, meaningless judgments control your destiny. You are shrinking your life to fit into the imaginary expectations of people who don't even care. Ask yourself, are you going to let your potential die because you are afraid of what Dave from accounting might think? Are you going to sacrifice your dreams to avoid the judgment of people you don't even like? When you realize that nobody is watching, you become free. You can experiment. You can fail. You can be weird. The spotlight is off. Dance in the dark. Pillar 3, the sunk cost fallacy. The mind builds fear around the idea of loss. We are far more motivated by the fear of losing what we have than by the prospect of gaining something new. This is called loss aversion. This keeps people in dead-end jobs for 20 years.
They hate the job, but they fear losing the security, the tenure, the time invested. They say, I've put 10 years into this career. I can't just leave. So instead of losing the past 10 years, they choose to lose the next 30 years. The mind tells you that change is dangerous because you might lose your current standing. It clings to the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. This is why people stay in abusive relationships. The known hell is less scary than the unknown heaven. You must be willing to burn the ships. You must be willing to let go of who you were to become who you are. The fear of loss is an illusion because you cannot keep anything anyway. Time will take it all eventually. You might as well spend your time building something you love rather than protecting something you hate. Pillar 4, catastrophizing. The mind loves to take a small possibility and blow it up into a life-ending catastrophe. You want to ask for a raise. Your mind says, if I ask, the boss might get angry. If he gets angry, he might fire me. If I get fired, I won't be able to pay rent. I will be evicted. I will live under a bridge. I will die alone in the rain. So, you don't ask for the raise. This chain of logic is absurd, but in the split second of fear, it feels real.
The architecture of fear connects asking for a raise directly to death. You have to catch this mechanism. You have to interrupt the chain. You have to ask, what is the actual worst-case scenario? If you ask for a raise, the actual worst case is he says no. That's it. You are back exactly where you started. You are not under a bridge. If you start a business and it fails, the worst case is you lose some money and have to get a job again. You are not dead. When you shine the light of logic on the monsters in the dark, you realize they are just shadows. The catastrophe is almost never fatal. It is usually just uncomfortable, and you can handle uncomfortable. Dismantling the fortress. So how do we tear this architecture down? We do not do it by thinking positive. You cannot think your way out of a prison made of thought. You dismantle fear through exposure. Fear thrives on avoidance. Every time you feel fear and choose to retreat, you feed the fear. You teach your amygdala, you were right. That was dangerous. Thank you for stopping me. The fear grows stronger. The wall gets higher. Every time you feel fear and act anyway, you starve the fear. You teach your brain, see, I did the thing and I didn't die. The alarm was false. This is how you rewire the system. You have to prove to your primitive brain that it is wrong. You have to collect evidence of your own survival. You start small. Afraid of cold showers? Turn the knob to cold for the last 10 seconds. You survive. Afraid of speaking up? Ask one question in the next meeting. You survive. Afraid of rejection? Ask for a discount on your coffee. They say no. You survive. With every act of courage, the architecture crumbles. You realize that the fear was a hologram. It had no substance. You must change your relationship with the sensation of fear. Most people feel fear and interpret it as a stop sign. High performers feel fear and interpret it as a go sign. If you are afraid of the work, it means the work matters to you. You are not afraid of eating a sandwich. You are not afraid of watching TV. You are afraid of writing the book. You are afraid of starting the business. Why? Because your soul knows that those things are important. Fear is a compass. It points north. It points directly toward where you need to grow. The things that scare you the most are usually the things you must do. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. So stop trying to banish the fear. Invite it in. Say to it, I see you. I know you are trying to keep me safe, but we are not doing safe anymore. We are doing great.
When you stop resisting fear, it changes texture. It transforms from a heavy, paralyzing weight into a sharp electric energy. It becomes adrenaline. It becomes focus. It becomes fuel. The war within is not about killing the fear. It is about mastering it. It is about looking at the architecture of lies your mind has built and laughing at it. You are the architect now. You can build a prison or you can build a palace. The walls of I can't are made of paper. The chains of I'm not ready are made of smoke. The monster of what if I fail is a shadow puppet. Walk through them. On the other side of that fear is the person you have been waiting to meet. On the other side is freedom. In the next chapter, we are going to learn the specific technique of detachment, how to separate your identity from these fearful emotions so that they no longer have the power to possess you. We are going to learn the art of the great detachment. But for now, look at your fear. Do not look away. Stare it down until it blinks. It always blinks first. Chapter 4. The Great Detachment. There is a single skill that separates the elite from the average. It is not intelligence. It is not talent. It is not luck. It is the ability to feel a powerful, overwhelming emotion, rage, fear, lust, despair, and simply watch it without acting on it.
This is the skill of detachment. Most people are puppets. Their strings are pulled by their biochemistry. If they feel angry, they yell. If they feel sad, they quit. If they feel hungry, they eat. If they feel scared, they run. They have zero gap between the stimulus and the response. They are slaves to the chemical weather patterns of their own brains. To make your mind an ally, you must stop being its slave. You must cut the strings. You must learn the art of the great detachment. We have established that you are not your thoughts. We have established that your brain is a survival machine often working against your higher goals. Now we must learn the practical mechanics of how to separate yourself from the machine. This is not about becoming a robot. It is not about suppressing your emotions until you explode. It is about becoming the master of your emotions rather than their victim. Imagine you're sitting in a movie theater. On the screen, a terrifying scene is playing. A monster is chasing the hero. The music swells. The tension is high. Your heart races. You grip the armrest. But deep down, you know you are safe. You know you are sitting in a chair, eating popcorn. You know the monster is just light projected onto a screen. You are detached. You are experiencing the thrill, but you are not in danger. Now, imagine if you forgot you were in a theater.
Imagine if you believed the screen was real life. You would scream. You would run out of the exit. You would have a breakdown. Most people have forgotten they're in the theater. They think the movie playing in their mind is reality. The great detachment is the act of remembering the seat. It is the act of stepping back from the screen of your mind and saying, wow, that is a scary thought. Interesting. How do we do this in the heat of battle? How do we do this when the boss is yelling or the spouse is arguing or the bank account is empty? The 3-second gap. The first step is to master the gap. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Most people have no space. Stimulus, someone cuts you off in traffic. Response, you honk and scream immediately. The detached master creates a gap. Stimulus, someone cuts you off. The gap. Response, you take a breath, realize the driver is an idiot or in a rush, and you keep driving calmly. In that gap, you reclaim your humanity. In that gap, you switch from the primitive animal brain, reaction, to the advanced human brain, response. You must practice widening this gap. When you feel a surge of emotion, let's say anger, do not speak, do not type,
Do not move. Freeze. Count to 3. In those 3 seconds, ask yourself, who is angry right now? It sounds like a strange question, but the answer is, my ego is angry, or my amygdala is angry. By labeling the emotion, you separate from it. You turn, I am angry, into I am experiencing anger. This is a linguistic trick that changes your neurology. When you say I am angry, you are defining your entire existence by that emotion. You are merging with it. When you say I feel anger, you are describing a temporary state. You are the sky. Anger is just a passing cloud. The sky is not the cloud. The sky holds the cloud, watches the cloud, and eventually lets the cloud pass. The view from the balcony. Visualize your life as a dance floor. It is loud, chaotic, and crowded. You are in the middle of it, dancing, bumping into people, sweating, getting stepped on. This is your daily life. It is the stress, the emails, the noise. Detachment is the ability to mentally climb the stairs to the balcony. From the balcony, you can look down at the dance floor. You can see yourself down there. You can see the patterns. You can see that the person who bumped into you didn't mean it. You can see the exit. You can see the DJ. When you are overwhelmed, you must mentally go to the balcony. Stop what you are doing. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. Zoom out. Look at your problem from the perspective of next week. Will this matter in 7 days? Look at it from the perspective of next year. Look at it from the perspective of the moon, looking down on Earth. Suddenly, the crisis shrinks. The panic subsides. When you are zoomed in, a flat tire is a tragedy. When you are zoomed out, a flat tire is a minor inconvenience in the long life. The mind wants to zoom in. It wants to fixate on the microscopic details of your pain. The detached master forces the lens to zoom out. The just like me technique. A major source of our mental suffering comes from other people. We take things personally. We think the world is attacking us. Your boss is rude. Your partner is distant. The customer is angry. Your mind says, they hate me. They are disrespecting me. I need to fight back. Detachment allows you to see the machinery behind their behavior. When someone attacks you, it is rarely about you. It is about their own internal war. A happy, confident, peaceful person does not go around attacking others. Only people in pain create pain. When you realize this, you detach from the insult. You don't catch the ball they threw at you. You let it drop. You say to yourself, this person is suffering
just like me. They are controlled by their primitive brain, just like I used to be.
They are fighting a battle I know nothing about. This doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. You can still set boundaries, but you do it without the emotional poison. You fire the toxic employee not because you hate him, but because he is bad for business. You leave the toxic relationship not because you are in a rage, but because you have made a calculation that it is no longer serving you. Cold, hard, rational detachment is far more powerful than hot, reactive anger. Anger makes you stupid. Detachment makes you surgical. The practice of next. The mind loves to cling. It clings to past victories and past failures. If you had a great success yesterday, your mind wants to stay there. It wants to replay the glory. It wants to rest on its laurels. This is dangerous. It breeds complacency. If you had a terrible failure yesterday, your mind wants to stay there too. It wants to wallow in the shame. It wants to analyze what went wrong for the 1000th time. This is also dangerous. It breeds depression. The detached master practices the art of next. You win a contract? Good. Celebrate for 5 minutes. Then, next. You get rejected? Good. Learn the lesson for 5 minutes. Then, next. You must treat your life like a conveyor belt. Events come down the line. You handle them. You process them. And then you let them go off the end of the belt.
You do not run after the box that has already passed. You focus on the box in front of you. This is what athletes call short memory. If a quarterback throws an interception, he cannot be thinking about it during the next play. If he does, he will hesitate. He will fail again. He must detach from the error instantly. He must reset to 0. You must learn to reset to 0 every single morning. Whatever you did yesterday, good or bad, does not matter today. The score is 0-0. The sun is up. The clock is running. Detach from the past. It is a ghost. It cannot help you now. The observer drill. You need to train this skill just like you train a muscle. You don't wait for a crisis to practice detachment. You practice it in the small moments. Drill 1. The cold shower. We mentioned this before, but now look at it through the lens of detachment. When the cold water hits you, your body will scream. Your mind will beg you to step out. Practice observing that scream. Notice the physical sensation of the cold. Is it actually pain, or is it just an intense sensation? Notice the panic. Do not identify with it. Just stand there and watch your brain freak out while you hold the soap calmly. You are the captain. The brain is the panicking crew. Drill 2. The urge surfing.
When you get an urge to check your phone, to eat sugar, to smoke, to complain, do not fight it and do not give in to it. Just watch it. Visualize the urge as a wave. It rises, it crests, it crashes, and then it recedes. Most people think the urge will last forever if they don't satisfy it. That is false. An urge usually lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. If you can simply surf the wave, watching it rise and fall without acting, it will disappear. Say to yourself, I am noticing an urge to check Instagram. That is interesting. Then go back to work. Drill 3. The silent commute. Drive to work with no radio, no podcast, no phone calls. Just silence. Your mind will start chatting. It will get bored. It will get anxious. It will start listing your problems. Don't engage. Just listen to the noise. Treat your thoughts like passing traffic. A red car, an angry thought. A blue car, a sad thought. A truck, a worried thought. Let them drive by. Do not chase the cars. The power of indifference. There is a secret power in not caring. Not caring about your goals. You should care deeply about your goals, but not caring about the micro fluctuations of your journey. Be indifferent to the mood of the day. Be indifferent to the difficulty of the task. Be indifferent to the opinion of the spectator. When you are detached, you become unshakable.
A man who does not need the world's validation cannot be controlled by the world. A man who is not a slave to his own comfort cannot be stopped by pain. The detached mind is like water. You can hit water with a hammer, and you cannot hurt it. It simply flows around the hammer and reforms. The attached mind is like glass. It is rigid, it is fixed, and because it is rigid, it shatters when life hits it hard. Be water, fluid, adaptable, observing. The great detachment is the moment you realize that you are not the character in the movie. You are the one watching the movie. And because you are the watcher, you can decide how the scene ends. You can decide to rewrite the script. And that is exactly what we are going to do next. Now that you have separated yourself from the malfunctioning machine, you are in a position to fix it. You have the screwdriver in your hand. You have opened the control panel. In the next chapter, we will learn how to rewrite the source code. We will learn how to physically and psychologically change the neural pathways of your brain to default to strength instead of fear. But for now, breathe. Create the gap. Step onto the balcony. Watch the show. You are not the storm. You are the silence behind the storm.
Chapter 5. Rewriting the Source Code. For decades, scientists believed a lie. They believed that the adult human brain was fixed. They thought that once you reached a certain age, your neural pathways were set in stone. If you were anxious, you would always be anxious. If you were bad at math, you would always be bad at math. If you had a short temper, that was just who you were. They were wrong. We now know the truth. The brain is not a stone, it is clay. It is constantly shifting, molding, and rewiring itself based on what you do and what you think. This capability is called neuroplasticity. This is the most liberating discovery in the history of human potential. It means that "this is just the way I am" is no longer a valid excuse. It is a lie. You are not hardwired, you are soft-wired. And software can be updated. Right now, your brain is running a specific operating system. For most of you, it is a legacy system. It was programmed by your parents, your teachers, your childhood bullies, and your past failures. It is full of bugs. It crashes when things get difficult. It runs slow. It is infected with the viruses of doubt and fear. In Chapter 4, we learned how to step back and watch the screen. Now in Chapter 5, we are going to sit down at the keyboard and rewrite the code. You are the programmer.
To understand how to do this, you must understand the first law of neuroscience. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Imagine a dense, overgrown forest. If you walk through that forest once, you leave a few bent twigs. If you walk that same path every day for a year, you create a trail. If you drive a truck down that path every day for 10 years, you create a highway. Your thoughts are the truck. Every time you think, "I am not good enough," you are driving the truck down the highway of insecurity. You are physically thickening the neural connection that makes that thought easier to think next time. You are insulating the wire. Eventually, the highway becomes so smooth, so paved, and so wide that your thoughts flow down it automatically. You don't even have to try to feel insecure. It just happens. It becomes your default setting. But the reverse is also true. If you stop driving down a highway, nature takes over. Grass grows through the cracks, weeds spring up. Eventually, the forest reclaims the road. The connection withers. This is called synaptic pruning. This is the mechanics of change. You must stop traveling the old roads and start hacking a new path through the bush, machete in hand, until that new path becomes your highway. How do we do this practically? We use the 3 tools of the master programmer: the filter, the command, and the simulator. Tool 1. The filter. Retuning the RAS. Your brain is bombarded with millions of bits of data every second. Sights, sounds, smells, sensations. If you processed all of it, your brain would melt. So you have a bouncer at the door of your mind. This bouncer is called the reticular activating system.
RAS. The RAS decides what gets in and what gets ignored. It filters the world based on what you have told it is important. Have you ever bought a new car, let's say a white Jeep, and suddenly you see white Jeeps everywhere? Did everyone suddenly buy a white Jeep? No, they were always there. But before, your RAS ignored them. Now that you own one, your RAS has marked white Jeep as important, so it highlights them. This is the key. Your RAS will show you whatever you focus on. If you believe the world is full of mean, selfish people, your RAS will scan the room and find the one person scowling. It will ignore the 10 people smiling. It will deliver evidence to support your belief. You will say, "See, I was right." You weren't right. You were filtered. If you believe opportunities are everywhere, your RAS will tune into conversations about business. It will spot the "help wanted" sign. It will notice the gap in the market. You must reprogram the bouncer. You do this by consciously directing your focus. When you wake up, instead of thinking, "What problems do I have today?"
Ask yourself, what opportunities are available to me today? It sounds simple, but it is a command to your RAS. You are telling the bouncer, let in the opportunities, keep out the noise. If you do this consistently, your reality changes. Not because the world changed, but because you are finally seeing the doors that were always there. Tool 2, the command, the I am loop. The two most powerful words in the English language are I am. Whatever you put after those two words, your mind accepts as a command. It does not argue. It simply executes the script. I am tired. The mind slows down your metabolism. It slumps your posture. I am anxious. The mind releases cortisol. It tightens your chest. I am forgetful. The mind stops trying to retrieve the memory. Most people spend their day casting black magic spells on themselves. They curse themselves from morning to night. I'm such an idiot. I'm so clumsy. I'm terrible with names. I'm always late. Stop it. You are writing bugs into your own code. You must weaponize the I am statement. This is not about fluffy woo-woo affirmations where you stand in the mirror and lie to yourself. This is about strategic identity design. If you want to be disciplined, you must start saying, I am disciplined, even if you aren't yet. Especially if you aren't yet. You are building the new highway.
When you say, I am a disciplined person, your brain experiences cognitive dissonance. It says, no, you're not. Remember yesterday when you ate that pizza? Ignore the dissent. Repeat the command. I am disciplined. I do what needs to be done. You have to say it with conviction. You have to say it with emotion. The brain pays attention to emotional intensity. A command whispered in doubt does nothing. A command shouted in the internal silence of your will changes the structure of your mind. Create a loop. Pick 3 attributes you want to embody. I am relentless. I am focused. I am a problem solver. Repeat them in the shower. Repeat them in the car. Repeat them when you feel weak. You are drilling the new path. You are laying the asphalt. Eventually, the behavior will catch up to the identity. You will find yourself acting disciplined because it would be inconsistent with your new code not to. We act in accordance with who we believe we are. Change the belief, and the action follows. Tool 3, the simulator, visualization. The brain has a flaw, or a feature, depending on how you use it. It cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. In a famous study, one group of people practiced the piano physically. Another group just sat and imagined practicing the piano. When they scanned their brains, the region controlling the fingers had grown in both groups. The mental practice physically rewired the brain.
This is the simulator. Most people use the simulator for disaster preparation. They visualize failing. They visualize the rejection. They visualize the embarrassment. They practice losing thousands of times before they even step onto the field. You must flip the switch.
You must use the simulator to practice winning. This is what elite athletes do. They don't just hope to win. They have played the game in their mind 500 times before the whistle blows. They have felt the ball. They have smelled the grass. They have seen the ball go through the hoop. When they get to the real game, it feels like déjà vu. Their brain says, "Oh, I know this script. I've run it 1,000 times. Here is the code for success." You must do the same. Before a high-stakes meeting, close your eyes. Don't just think about it. Be there. See the boardroom. See the faces of the people. Feel your clothes. Feel the calm confidence in your chest. Hear yourself speaking clearly. See them nodding in agreement. Feel the handshake at the end. Run the script. If you feel anxiety during the visualization, stop. Rewind. Run it again until you feel calm. You are preloading the success pattern. You are digging the trench so that when the water of reality flows, it flows exactly where you want it to go. The 7-day mental diet. Here is the challenge. We are going to go cold turkey on the old code.
For the next 7 days, you are on a strict mental diet. The rule is simple. You are not allowed to dwell on a negative thought for more than 10 seconds. I did not say you won't have negative thoughts. You will. The old highways are still there. But when a negative thought arrives, "I can't do this," you have 10 seconds to catch it, label it as old code, and delete it. You must replace it immediately with the correction. Thought, "I'm going to fail." Correction, "I might struggle, but I will figure it out. I always figure it out." If you dwell on the negativity for more than 10 seconds, you have broken the diet. You have to start over at day 1. Most people cannot make it past day 1. They are addicted to their own suffering. They are addicted to the victim narrative. But you are not most people. You are a rewriter. You have to be aggressive with this. You have to stand guard at the door of your mind like a sentinel. If you catch yourself gossiping, stop. That is junk code. If you catch yourself complaining about the weather, stop. That is victim code. If you catch yourself replaying a memory of shame, stop. That is a corrupted file. Delete it. This week will be exhausting. It is hard work to monitor your mind 24/7. It requires constant vigilance. But this is the work. This is the jihad of the soul.
By the end of the week, you will feel different. You will feel lighter. You will realize how much energy you were wasting on generating negativity. When you rewrite the source code, the external output changes automatically. You don't have to force the fruit to grow. If you change the root, the fruit takes care of itself. If you plant apple seeds, you don't have to try hard to make apples. You just have to nurture the tree. Your thoughts are the seeds. Your actions are the fruit. Stop trying to tape apples onto a dead tree. Stop trying to force success actions while running failure thoughts. It won't stick. Go to the root. Fix the code. Change the I am. Retune the filter. Run the simulation. The brain is a faithful servant. It will build whatever you tell it to build. For years, you have told it to build a dungeon. It built a magnificent dungeon, strong and dark. Now, hand it a new set of blueprints. Tell it to build a tower. It will obey. Chapter 6. The Iron Command. There is a lie that has killed more dreams than any other force on earth. It is a subtle, seductive lie that we tell ourselves every single day. The lie is this: I need to feel like doing it before I do it. We believe that action requires a precursor. We believe that we need a spark of inspiration, a surge of energy, or a wave of motivation before we can lift the pen, lace up the shoes, or make the call. We treat our work like a mood. If the mood is right, we work. If the mood is wrong, we wait. This approach is the hallmark of the amateur. The professional understands a fundamental truth that the amateur ignores. Motivation is not the cause of action. Motivation is the result of action. You have the equation backward. You are waiting for the fire to start before you strike the match. You are waiting for the car to move before you press the gas. It does not work that way. You must strike the match to get the fire. You must press the gas to get the movement. This chapter is about the iron command. It is about the ability to issue an executive order to your own body that bypasses the complaints of your mind. It is about severing the link between how I feel and what I do. The death of negotiation. Imagine you are a general in the army. You order your troops to take a hill. Do you ask them if they feel like taking the hill? Do you ask them if they are in the mood? Do you hold a seminar to discuss their emotional readiness? No. You give the command. They execute. If a general negotiated with his soldiers every morning, he would lose the war by noon. Yet you negotiate with yourself every single day. The alarm goes off at 6 a.m. You plan to run. Your mind, the reluctant soldier, says, "It's cold. I'm tired. My bed is warm. Let's do it tomorrow." You, the weak general, say, "Yeah, you're right. Just 5 more minutes." You're just lost. You entered a negotiation with a terrorist. And make no mistake, the part of your brain that wants comfort is a terrorist. It holds your potential hostage. The iron command means the negotiation is over. It means you revoke the voting rights of your feelings. When the alarm goes off, there is no discussion. There is no "should I?" There is only the physical movement of the body. You stand up, you are a machine. Machines don't have moods. Machines have functions. You must learn to treat the execution of your tasks with cold, robotic indifference. I don't feel like writing today. Irrelevant. Write. I am scared of this phone call. Irrelevant. Dial. I am tired. Irrelevant. Work. This sounds harsh. It sounds inhumane, but it is actually the ultimate form of self-love. Because by ignoring your temporary feelings, you are honoring your permanent potential. You are protecting your future self from the regret of your present self. The body leads the mind. We tend to think that the mind controls the body, and often it does. The mind thinks, "I'm sad," and the body slumps. But the circuit runs both ways. The body can control the mind. If you force your body to act confident, shoulders back, head up, deep breath, your mind will eventually start to feel confident. If you force your body to smile, your biochemistry changes. This is the principle of motion creates emotion. When you are stuck in a mental rut, waiting for your mind to change is the slowest way out. The fastest way out is to move your body. If you are sitting at your desk, paralyzed by writer's block, don't sit there and think your way out of it. Stand up, do 10 push-ups, walk around the block, shock the system. You can use this to bypass the "I don't feel like it" barrier. Don't try to change your mind, just move your hands. If you need to write, don't think about the whole chapter. Just force your fingers to type one sentence, any sentence. The cat sat on the mat. It doesn't matter. Once the fingers are moving, the mind wakes up. It says, "Oh, we are writing now? Okay, I guess I'll get on board." The mind hates dissonance. If your body is working and your mind is pouting, the mind will eventually snap out of it to align with the body. Lead with the body. Drag the mind behind you if you have to. It will catch up.
In chemistry, there is a concept called activation energy. It is the minimum amount of energy required to start a chemical reaction. Lighting a match takes a bit of friction. Once the match is lit, it burns easily. But you need that initial strike. The same is true for your habits. The hardest part of a workout is not the lifting of the weights, it is the putting on of the shoes. The hardest part of writing is not the typing, it is the opening of the laptop.
The hardest part of the run is the first step out the door. The resistance is concentrated entirely in the first 2 minutes. This is the friction zone. Your mind creates massive friction at the start because it is trying to conserve energy. Remember Chapter 2. It creates a mental wall. The iron command is specifically designed to breach this wall. You don't need enough willpower to finish the marathon. You only need enough willpower to put on your sneakers. Focus all your mental energy on the start. Make the start non-negotiable. Tell yourself, I don't have to run 5 miles. I just have to put my shoes on and step outside. If I want to quit after that, I can. This is a trick, of course. Once you are outside, you will run. But the trick lowers the activation energy. It makes the barrier jumpable. The identity of reliability. The iron command builds something more valuable than productivity.
It builds self-trust. Confidence comes from the Latin word fidere, which means to trust. Confidence is simply self-trust. How do you build trust with a friend? They keep their promises. If they say they will pick you up at 8, they are there at 8. If they flake on you 5 times in a row, you stop trusting them. You lose respect for them. Most people have zero self-respect because they have flaked on themselves thousands of times. I'll start the diet Monday. You don't. I'll wake up early. You don't. I'll save money. You don't. You are a liar to yourself. Your subconscious knows it. It knows that your word means nothing. So when you set a big goal, your subconscious laughs. It says, yeah, right, added to the pile of broken promises. To rebuild this trust, you must honor the iron command in the small things. If you say you are going to drink a glass of water when you wake up, do it. If you say you're going to read 1 page, do it. Do not set a goal you do not intend to keep. But if you set it, you must keep it. It is better to set a tiny goal and crush it than a huge goal and fail. Every time you execute a command, you drop a marble in the jar of self-trust. I said I would do it, and I did it.
Over weeks and months, the jar fills up. You start to walk differently. You start to look at people differently. You know that you are a person of your word. You know that if you decide to do something, it is as good as done. It is a foregone conclusion. This is the aura of the elite. It is not arrogance. It is the quiet certainty of a man who trusts his own will. Embracing the suck. The iron command requires you to change your relationship with discomfort. Modern society is obsessed with comfort. We have climate control, soft beds, painkillers, and delivery apps. We have engineered the struggle out of our lives. As a result, our tolerance for discomfort has atrophied. We are fragile. If the Wi-Fi is slow, we rage. If the coffee is cold, we whine. You must reintroduce voluntary hardship into your life. You must callous your mind. This is why the Navy SEALs have a saying, embrace the suck. When you are tired, cold, wet, and miserable, don't wish it was easier. Lean into it. Say to yourself, this sucks. Good. This is where I get stronger. Pain is the sensation of weakness leaving the body. Frustration is the sensation of your brain expanding. When you are in the middle of a difficult task and you feel that urge to quit, that burning desire to check your phone, recognize that sensation. That is the suck. That is the pivotal moment. If you quit, you reinforce the habit of quitting. You tell your brain, when things get hard, we stop. If you push through, even for 5 more minutes, you reinforce the habit of grit. You tell your brain, when things get hard, we push. You are forging your character in those moments of friction. The iron command is the hammer that strikes the hot iron of your soul. It hurts, it is intense, but it is the only way to shape the metal into a sword.
The just for today mindset. Sometimes the idea of being disciplined forever is too heavy. The mind rebels against forever. I have to eat healthy for the rest of my life? That sounds miserable. So don't do it forever. Just do it today. Can you follow the iron command just for today? Can you hold the line until your head hits the pillow tonight? Forget about tomorrow. Tomorrow is a theoretical concept. You only ever live in today. If you can win today and then wake up and win today again, you will stack a lifetime of victories. When the urge to quit rises, say, I will quit tomorrow, but not today. Today, I work. The burned bridge. Sometimes your will is not enough. Sometimes you need to rig the game so you cannot fail. This is called a commitment device. It is a way of locking your future self into the iron command. If you want to get up early, put your alarm clock across the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off. If you want to stop checking your phone, put it in a timed lockbox. If you want to write, unplug the internet router. Don't rely on willpower alone. Willpower is a battery. It drains. Strategy is a wall. It stands. Make it harder to fail than to succeed. Use the iron command to set up the environment so that when your motivation dips, and it will, the environment forces you to act. Conclusion. You have been waiting for a feeling that is not coming. You have been waiting for the clouds to part and a beam of motivation to strike you. Stop waiting. You are the generator of your own energy. You are the architect of your own mood. The iron command is simple. It is binary. 0 or 1. Do or do not. There is no try. There is no maybe. The next time you face a task and your mind starts to whine, shut it down. Visualize a heavy iron gate slamming shut on the complaints. Look at the task. Move your body. Action is the only truth. Everything else is just noise. You have the power to command yourself. Use it or lose it. In the next chapter, we will discuss what to do with the intense emotions that arise when you start pushing yourself.
We will learn how to take anger, frustration, and even sadness and turn them into high-octane fuel. We will learn the art of emotional alchemy. Chapter 7. Emotional Alchemy. There is a vast, untapped energy source in your life that you are currently throwing away. It is a resource more powerful than caffeine, more potent than motivation, and more sustainable than willpower. But because it feels uncomfortable, you sedate it. You numb it with food. You distract yourself from it with entertainment. You try to meditate it away because you have been told that it is negative. I am talking about your dark emotions. Anger, frustration, envy, regret, heartbreak, spite. Society tells you these feelings are bad. It tells you that to be a good person, you must be constantly happy, peaceful, and zen. It tells you to let go of your anger. It tells you to get over your heartbreak. I am telling you to keep it. I am telling you that these emotions are not toxic waste. They are rocket fuel. The problem is not that you have these feelings. The problem is that you do not know how to use them. You are like a primitive man sitting on top of an oil well, complaining that the black sludge is ruining his grass, unaware that he is sitting on enough energy to power a civilization. This chapter is about emotional alchemy. Alchemy was the ancient mythical science of turning lead into gold.
Emotional alchemy is the very real science of turning your pain into power. It is the art of taking the heavy, leaden weight of your suffering and transmuting it into the golden light of achievement. The physics of emotion. Let's look at this through the lens of physics. The first law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or changed from one form to another. Emotion is energy. The word itself comes from the Latin emovere, meaning energy in motion. When you feel a surge of rage, your body is flooded with adrenaline, cortisol, and glucose.
Your blood pressure rises, your focus narrows, you become stronger, faster, and more alert. This is a high-energy state. When you feel deep heartbreak, you are in a state of profound vibration. Your entire nervous system is lit up with the pain of loss. Most people take this massive surge of energy and do one of two things. They suppress it. They swallow the anger. They bottle it up. This is like capping a volcano. Eventually, it explodes internally, causing ulcers, heart disease, or depression. Depression is often just anger turned inward. They leak it. They yell at their spouse, they punch a wall, they complain on social media, they vent. This releases the pressure, but it wastes the energy. It creates heat, but no light. The alchemist chooses the third option, transmutation. The alchemist builds an engine, a project, a business, a workout routine, and pours the volatile fuel of his emotions into that engine. He does not yell at the person who fired him. He builds a company that crushes them. He does not cry over the person who left him. He builds a body and a life that makes them regret leaving. This is not healthy in the soft therapeutic sense. It is effective, it is primal, and it is the secret engine behind many of the greatest achievements in human history. The gift of anger. Anger is perhaps the most misunderstood emotion. We are taught that anger is destructive, and it is, if it is uncontrolled. But controlled anger? Controlled anger is a laser beam. Anger is the emotion of boundaries. It is the emotion that says, no. No, I will not accept this treatment. No, I will not live like this anymore. No, I will not be average. You need a certain level of disgust to change your life. You have to get angry at your current situation. If you are okay with being overweight, you will stay overweight. If you are at peace with being broke, you will stay broke. You need to look in the mirror and get mad. You need to look at your bank account and feel a burning hot rage at your own mediocrity. That rage is the spark. Think of Michael Jordan.
He is the greatest basketball player of all time, not just because of his skill, but because of his ability to manufacture anger. If a player on the other team didn't say hello to him, Jordan would invent a slight. He would convince himself that the guy disrespected him. He used that anger to score 40 points. He didn't let the anger consume him. He consumed the anger. He metabolized it into focus. You can do the same. Did someone doubt you? Good. Put it in the reactor. Did a teacher tell you you'd never amount to anything? Good. Put it in the reactor. Did a boss fire you? Good. Put it in the reactor. Do not forgive them yet. Forgiveness comes later when you are standing on the mountaintop looking down. For now, use the slight. Use the chip on your shoulder. A chip on the shoulder is a heavy thing to carry. To carry it, you have to get strong. The power of spite. Let's be honest. Sometimes doing it for yourself isn't enough motivation. Sometimes you are tired. You don't care about your own potential. In those dark moments, doing it to prove them wrong is a miracle drug. Spite is a dirty fuel. It burns black smoke. You shouldn't run on it forever. But when you are stuck in the mud, spite is the only fuel that burns hot enough to get the wheels turning. There's a satisfying pettiness in success. There is a glorious feeling in succeeding in spite of the odds, in spite of the haters, in spite of the environment. If you have people in your life who want you to fail, and you probably do, even if they smile to your face, your success is the ultimate punishment for them. Your happiness destroys them. So when you want to hit the snooze button, visualize the face of the person who thinks you are a loser. Visualize them smiling when you quit. Visualize them saying, "I knew he didn't have it in him." Does that make you want to sleep? Or does that make you want to rip the blanket off and get to work? Weaponize the haters. Make them your unpaid employees. Every doubt they whisper is a log for your fire.
Heartbreak as a pre-workout. There is no motivation in the world like a broken heart. When you are rejected, when a relationship ends, you feel a void. It feels like a hole in your chest. The amateur tries to fill that hole with alcohol, with rebound relationships, with distraction. The alchemist uses the hole as a vacuum to suck in new skills, new habits, and new power. Look at the phenomenon of the revenge body. It is a cliché for a reason. Someone gets dumped, and 6 months later, they are in the best shape of their life. Why?
Because the pain was so immense that the only way to endure it was to lift heavy weights. The physical pain of the workout distracted from the emotional pain of the loss, and in the process, they transformed. But why stop at the body? Why not get a revenge bank account? Why not get a revenge intellect? If you are going through hell, don't stop to cry. Keep going. Use the pain to sharpen your focus. When you are heartbroken, you can't sleep anyway, so you might as well work. When you're heartbroken, you have no appetite, so you might as well fast and get lean. When you're heartbroken, the world loses its color, so you have no distractions. Take that period of darkness and use it to build a fortress. The transmutation process. So how do you actually do this? How do you take a feeling of rage and turn it into a written chapter or a sales call or a workout? It requires a conscious process of containment and direction. Step 1. Feel it fully. Do not repress the emotion. If you are angry, admit it. Sit in a room and feel the heat in your chest. Clench your fists. Acknowledge the energy charge. I am absolutely furious right now. Step 2. Contain the explosion. This is the hard part. The instinct is to lash out. You want to send the angry text. You want to yell. Do not do it. If you lash out, you blow the valve. You lose the pressure. The energy dissipates into the air, and all you are left with is a mess to clean up. You must hold the pressure inside. It will feel uncomfortable. It will feel like you are vibrating. Good. That is the pressure building in the boiler. Step 3. Direct the stream. Now, while you are in that high-pressure state, turn immediately to your work. Open the laptop. Grab the weights. Pick up the phone. Say to yourself, I'm going to put all of this rage into this set of squats. I'm going to put all of this frustration into this email. You will find that your intensity is through the roof. You are not overthinking. You are not hesitating. You are in a flow state driven by aggression. You are channeling the chaotic energy of the storm through the narrow pipe of your discipline. The result is a high-pressure water cutter that can slice through steel. The shadow side. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, talked about the shadow. The shadow consists of all the parts of yourself that you hide, your aggression, your selfishness, your darkness. He said that until you integrate your shadow, you are not a whole human being. A man who is incapable of violence is not peaceful. He is harmless. There is a difference. A peaceful man is a man who is capable of great violence but keeps it under control.
To be a master of your mind, you must make friends with your shadow. You must accept that you are not a harmless angel. You are a dangerous animal with a capacity for aggression. And that is a good thing, because you need that aggression to protect your family. You need that aggression to attack your goals. You need that aggression to persevere when the world tries to break you. Don't castrate your soul in the name of positivity. Be a monster, and then learn to control the monster. The fuel of fear. We talked about fear in Chapter 3, but let's look at it here as fuel. Fear produces adrenaline. Adrenaline clears the mind and prepares the body for action. Many public speakers and performers say that the day they stop feeling nervous is the day they quit, because the nerves, the fear, gives them the edge. It makes them sharp. If you are scared before a big event, say, "Thank you, body, for the energy boost." Reframe the sensation. The physical sensation of fear, racing heart, sweaty palms, is biologically identical to the sensation of excitement. The only difference is the label you put on it. If you say, "I am anxious," you cripple yourself. If you say, I am excited, you empower yourself. Same feeling, different label, different outcome. A warning. Emotional alchemy is dangerous. It is like handling radioactive material. If you hold on to the anger for too long without transmuting it, it will poison you.
You cannot stay in the dark side forever. You visit it to refuel, but you must live in the light. If you operate only on spite, you will become bitter. If you operate only on anger, you will burn out. Use the dark fuel to get the car moving. Use it to climb the steep hills. But once you are cruising at high speed, switch to the cleaner fuel of purpose, love, and vision. Purpose burns cleaner. It lasts longer, but it is harder to ignite. Anger ignites instantly. So use the anger to start. Use the purpose to sustain. Conclusion: nothing is wasted. The ultimate lesson of emotional alchemy is efficiency. A master wastes nothing. He does not waste his time. He does not waste his money. And he certainly does not waste his pain. If you are going to suffer, and you are, because life is suffering, then get something out of it. If you are going to go through the hell of a divorce or a bankruptcy or a failure, do not come out the other side empty-handed. Come out with a new strength. Come out with a new wisdom. Come out with a newly forged steel in your spine. Don't let your pain be in vain. Turn your wounds into wisdom. Turn your obstacles into opportunities. Turn your tragedy into triumph. The world will try to give you lead. It will dump heavy, gray, useless lead on your doorstep every morning. Don't complain about the lead.
Build the fire, melt it down, and hand the world back gold. In the next chapter, we will move from the internal management of energy to the external application of it. We will talk about focus. We will discuss how to build a fortress around your mind so that you can do the deep work required to build your empire. Chapter 8. The Fortress of Focus. We are living in the most distracted era in human history. If you are listening to this right now, there is a high probability that you are doing something else at the same time. You might be driving, which is fine, but you might also be scrolling through social media, checking your email, or half watching video on another screen. Your attention is fractured. It is shattered into 1,000 tiny shards, scattered across a dozen different apps, obligations, and anxieties. You have forgotten what it feels like to think. One single unbroken thought for an hour. This is not entirely your fault. You are the victim of the greatest psychological operation ever launched. The most brilliant engineers, data scientists, and psychologists in the world are working for companies in Silicon Valley with one singular goal: to hack your dopamine receptors and steal your attention. They have succeeded. They have turned you into a stimulus junkie. You are addicted to the ding, the buzz, the red notification badge. You crave the micro hit of validation that comes from a like. You crave the micro hit of novelty that comes from a new headline. And while you are busy reacting to the noise, you are losing the ability to do the one thing that actually produces value: deep work. This chapter is about rebuilding your defenses. It is about constructing a fortress of focus around your mind so that you can do the hard, important work that the rest of the world is too distracted to handle. In the modern economy, the ability to focus without distraction for long periods is the rarest and most valuable skill you can possess. It is the new IQ. It is the superpower of the 21st century, the high cost of the switch. Most people believe they are good at multitasking. They wear it like a badge of honor. I can answer emails, listen to a podcast, and write a report all at the same time. Let me be clear. Multitasking is a lie. The human brain cannot multitask. It cannot process two high-level cognitive tasks simultaneously. What you are actually doing is task switching. You are rapidly toggling your attention back and forth between the email and the report.
Every time you switch, you pay a tax. It is called the switching cost. When you move your attention from task A to task B, your brain doesn't instantly snap to the new task. There is a residue left over from the previous task. This is called attention residue. If you are writing a complex proposal and you stop to check an email, even for 30 seconds, your focus is broken. When you return to the proposal, you are not at 100%. You are at 80%. A part of your brain is still thinking about the email. It takes an average of 23 minutes to fully regain deep focus after an interruption. Think about that, 23 minutes. If you check your phone every 10 minutes, you are never in a state of deep focus. You are living your entire life in a state of cognitive shallowing. You are permanently skimming the surface of your own potential. This is why you feel busy all day, but accomplish nothing. You are burning energy on the switching tasks rather than on the work itself. Deep work versus shallow work. To build the fortress, you must understand the difference between deep work and shallow work. Shallow work is logistical, and low value. It is answering emails, attending unnecessary meetings, filling out paperwork, and replying to Slack messages. It is work that a trained monkey or a basic AI could do. It is necessary to keep the lights on, but it does not move the needle. It does not build the empire. Deep work is the activity performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that pushes your cognitive capabilities to their limit. It is writing the book. It is coding the core algorithm. It is developing the strategic plan.
It is mastering a difficult skill. Deep work creates new value. Shallow work just manages existing value. The problem is that shallow work is easier. It feels productive. Every time you send an email, you get a little hit of dopamine. You feel like you are working. Deep work is hard. It is uncomfortable. It requires you to stare at a blank page or a complex problem and wrestle with it. It burns calories. It hurts. Because it hurts, your brain, the energy-conserving machine, tries to escape. It says, "This is hard. Let's check Instagram. Let's see what's on the news." If you give in to that urge, you remain a shallow worker. And in the coming years, shallow workers will be replaced by machines. If you want to be irreplaceable, you must be deep, building the walls. So how do we build the fortress of focus? We do it by creating strict physical and digital boundaries. You cannot rely on willpower to ignore your phone. The algorithms are stronger than your willpower. You must rely on walls. Wall 1. The phone ban. When you are entering a deep work block, your phone must be in another room, not in your pocket, not face down on the desk, in another room. Studies show that the mere presence of a smartphone, even if it is turned off, reduces cognitive capacity. Your brain is unconsciously monitoring it, waiting for it to ring. It is a leak in your focus. Put it away.
Treat it like a radioactive device. Wall 2. The digital moat. If you work on a computer, you are one click away from the entire internet. You are one click away from infinite distraction. You must dig a moat. Use website blockers. Turn off the Wi-Fi if you don't need it. Close every tab that is not related to the task at hand. If you are writing, you should have one window open, the document, nothing else. Wall 3. The time bunker. You cannot do deep work in 15-minute chunks. It takes time to go deep. You need long, uninterrupted blocks of time. Schedule bunker time on your calendar, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. During this time, you are unreachable. You do not answer calls. You do not check email. You warn your family or your colleagues, "I am going into the bunker.
Do not disturb me unless the building is on fire. Protect this time with your life. This is where you get rich. This is where you get great. The flow state. When you successfully defend your focus, you unlock the holy grail of productivity. Flow. Flow is the state of being completely immersed in an activity. You lose track of time. You lose track of self. You become the work. In flow, your productivity skyrockets. You can do in 2 hours what usually takes you 10. The work feels effortless. It feels like you are channeling something greater than yourself.
But here is the catch. Flow has an entry fee. You cannot just snap your fingers and enter flow. You have to push through the struggle phase. When you first sit down to do deep work, it will suck. Your brain will be agitated. It will scream for stimulation. It will feel bored. It will feel restless. This is the barrier. Most people hit this barrier and quit. They pick up the phone. You must push through the struggle. It usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes of wrestling with the task before the brain realizes, okay, he isn't giving up, I guess we have to focus. Then, the chemicals shift. The dopamine and norepinephrine kick in. The noise fades. The tunnel vision activates. You are in. You must be willing to endure the first 20 minutes of boredom and agitation to buy your ticket to flow. The death of boredom. Speaking of boredom, let's talk about why you are so bad at focusing. You have killed boredom. In the past, if you were waiting in line at the grocery store or sitting in a waiting room, you were bored. You've stared at the wall, you let your mind wander. Now, the second you have a moment of downtime, you pull out your phone. You fill every crack of silence with digital noise. This is a disaster for your brain. Boredom is not a defect. It is a feature. Boredom is the resting state of the mind. It is the soil from which creativity grows. When you are bored, your default mode network activates in a healthy way. Your brain processes the day. It makes connections between unrelated ideas. If you constantly stuff information into your brain, it never has time to digest. You are mentally constipated. To regain your focus, you must relearn how to be bored. Practice productive boredom. Go for a walk without headphones. Drive without the radio. Sit in a chair and just look out the window for 10 minutes. It will feel uncomfortable. You will feel the itch to swipe. Scratch the itch with your mind, not your thumb. By embracing boredom, you lower your dopamine threshold. You reset your tolerance. Suddenly, writing a report or reading a book doesn't feel so boring anymore because your brain isn't screaming for a TikTok video every 6 seconds. Single tasking is a weapon. The samurai practiced the art of the single sword strike. One cut, perfect execution. You must become a samurai of the single task. When you eat, just eat. Don't watch TV. When you read, just read. Don't listen to music with lyrics. When you walk, just walk. Train your brain to be in one place at one time. This sounds spiritual, but it is practical. If you train your brain to be fragmented during your leisure time, it will be fragmented during your work time. You cannot practice distraction for 16 hours a day and expect to focus for 2. How you do anything is how you do everything. The fortress mentality. You need to become hostile towards things that steal your time. People will get offended. They will say, "Why didn't you text me back immediately?" Tell them, "Because I was working." We have created a culture where being always on is expected. You must reject this culture. Always on means never deep. Always available means never valuable. If you are always available to everyone, your time has no value. Scarcity creates value. Make your access scarce. This applies to your own thoughts as well. When you are in the fortress and a random thought pops into your head, "I need to buy milk," or "I wonder who won the game," do not pursue it. Write it down on a piece of paper. This is your distraction list. Get it out of your head and onto the paper, then go back to work. Tell your brain, I have noted it. We will deal with it later. Now is not the time. The return on investment. Why go through all this trouble? Why be so rigid? Because the spoils go to the victor. In a world where everyone is skimming, the person who dives deep wins. In a world where everyone is a generic copy of everyone else, the person who focuses long enough to create something original becomes an icon. Look at the people you admire. Look at the billionaires, the elite athletes, the master artists. They are not frantic. They are not glued to their notifications. They have a terrifying ability to lock in. When Elon Musk works, he works. When Kobe Bryant trained, he trained. They built fortresses so strong that the world could not get in. You have a choice. You can be a slave to the algorithm, reacting to every ping and buzz like a lab rat. Or you can be the master of your attention, directing your focus like a laser beam to cut through the noise and carve your name into history. Turn off the phone, close the tabs, lock the door, enter the fortress. In the next chapter, we will discuss what happens when you have mastered the noise. We will explore the ultimate state of mental clarity, the quiet power that comes when the internal and external chatter finally stops. We will talk about intuition, clarity, and the silence of power. Chapter 9. The silence of power. Who is the most dangerous person in the room? Is it the loudest person? Is it the one bragging about their achievements? Is it the one frantically trying to network, shaking hands and dominating the conversation? No. The most dangerous person in the room is the one who is silent. They are the ones sitting back, observing. They are not desperate to be heard. They are not desperate to be validated. They are watching. They are listening. They are processing data while everyone else is broadcasting noise. When they finally speak, everyone listens. Why? Because they have accumulated power through silence. We live in a culture that worships noise. We mistake volume for strength. We mistake talking for thinking. We are terrified of silence. If there is a 3-second pause in a conversation, we panic and say something stupid just to fill the air. If we are alone in a car, we blast music. If we are alone in a room, we turn on the TV. We treat silence like an enemy. We treat it like a void that must be filled. But silence is not empty. Silence is full. In the previous chapters, we learned how to fight the enemy within. We learned how to rewire the brain, command the body, and focus the attention. Now, we ascend to the highest level of mental mastery. We move beyond the noise of the mind entirely. We move into the silence of power. This is the state where the internal chatter stops. This is the state where the doubt, the fear, and the analysis paralysis evaporate. What is left is pure, unadulterated clarity. The Japanese samurai called this state mushin, no mind. It does not mean a mind that is empty of intelligence. It means a mind that is empty of friction. The muddy water. Imagine a pool of water. If you are constantly stirring it with a stick, the water becomes muddy. You cannot see the bottom. You cannot see your reflection. Your mind is that pool. Your thoughts are the stick.
What if I fail? What did she mean by that text? I need to make more money. I look fat in this shirt. You are stirring the water 16 hours a day, and then you wonder why you have no clarity. You wonder why you can't make a decision. You wonder why you feel confused and anxious. You are trying to see the bottom of the pool while you are thrashing around in it. The only way to see the bottom is to stop stirring. You have to take the stick out. You have to let the mud settle. When the water becomes still, the clarity returns instantly. You don't have to try to find the answer. The answer is just there, resting on the bottom, visible as day. This is the function of silence. It is not a spiritual luxury. It is a tactical necessity for decision-making. The signal and the noise,
Your subconscious mind is a supercomputer. It can process millions of bits of information per second. It notices micro-expressions on people's faces. It recognizes patterns in the market that your conscious mind misses. It stores every memory you have ever had. This supercomputer communicates with you through intuition. Intuition is not magic. It is high-speed data processing. It is your brain saying, "I have seen this pattern before, and I know how it ends. Don't do it." But intuition is quiet. It doesn't scream. It whispers.
Your conscious mind, the traitor we talked about in Chapter 1, is loud. It screams fear. It screams logic. It screams social expectations. If your mind is full of noise, you cannot hear the whisper of your intuition. You are standing next to a jet engine trying to hear a pin drop. This is why you make bad decisions. You override your gut feeling with your loud, neurotic thinking. You meet a potential business partner. Your gut says, something is off, the whisper. But your loud mind says, but look at his resume, look at his suit. This is a great opportunity. Don't be paranoid. The noise. So you sign the deal. 6 months later, he steals your money, and you say the saddest words in the English language, "I knew it." Yes, you knew it. The signal was there, but you were too loud to hear it. The master cultivates silence so that he can hear the signal. He trusts the whisper over the scream. He knows that the quiet voice is the one that carries the truth. Silence as a status signal. Let's talk about power dynamics. In the animal kingdom and in the human kingdom, reactivity is a sign of weakness. The small dog barks at everything. A leaf blows, bark. A car passes, bark. It is frantic. It is fearful. It is low status. The lion does not bark. The lion sleeps. The lion watches. It only moves when it intends to kill. It is high status. When you are constantly talking, explaining yourself, justifying your actions, and reacting to every piece of news, you are the small dog. You are signaling insecurity. You are showing the world that you are easily disturbed. The powerful man is unshakable. He is comfortable in the silence. Have you ever been in a negotiation? The amateur makes his offer, and then, when the other person doesn't answer immediately, the amateur starts talking again. I mean, we could probably go lower. I just want to be fair. What do you think? He is negotiating against himself. He is terrified of the silence. The master makes his offer, and then he shuts his mouth. He sits there. He looks the other person in the eye. He is perfectly comfortable with the tension. He waits. He knows the first person to speak loses. Silence creates a vacuum. Human beings are social creatures. They feel an urge to fill the vacuum. If you stay silent, the other person will often babble. They will reveal information they didn't mean to reveal. They will lower their price just to end the uncomfortable pause. Use silence as a weapon. When someone asks you a rude question, don't get angry. Just look at them. Hold the silence for 4 seconds. Let them sit in the awkwardness of their own rudeness. When someone gives you a pathetic excuse, don't argue. Just stare. Let the silence crush them. Silence is not passive. Silence is heavy. It has weight. Learn to let it hang in the room. The zone of no mind. In high-performance situations, sports, combat, trading, performing, thinking is too slow. If a baseball comes at you at 100 miles per hour, you cannot think, okay, the ball is approaching, I should rotate my hips, I should swing the bat now. By the time you think that, the ball is already in the catcher's mitt. You must bypass the conscious mind. You must enter Mushin. You have experienced this before. Think about a time when you were driving and you narrowly avoided an accident. You didn't think, your hands just moved. You swerved, you braked. Your heart didn't start pounding until after it was over. In that moment of crisis, your conscious mind shut up.
and your supercomputer took over. You were in no mind. The goal of the master is to access this state on command, not just in emergencies. You achieve this through preparation. You train the skill until it is automatic, as we discussed in Chapter 5. And then, when it is time to perform, you turn the mind off. You stop analyzing, you stop trying, you surrender to the training. This is what athletes mean when they say they were in the zone. The zone is simply the absence of noise. It is the absence of the self. The dancer becomes the dance, the writer becomes the words. There is no I doing the action is just happening through you.
Solitude versus loneliness. To cultivate this power, you must change your relationship with being alone. Most people hate being alone because when they are alone, they are forced to confront the contents of their own mind. And because their mind is a mess, it is a painful experience. This is loneliness. Loneliness is the poverty of self. It is the feeling that you are incomplete without others. The master seeks solitude. Solitude is the glory of being alone. It is the state of enjoying your own company. It is the laboratory where you process your data, sharpen your philosophy, and reconnect with your vision. You cannot build a strong mind if you are constantly surrounded by people. You are absorbing their energy, their opinions, their fears. You need to detox. You need to carve out periods of solitude. Go for a walk alone without headphones. Sit in a room alone for 20 minutes. Take a solo trip. In the beginning, the silence will be deafening. Your mind will scream louder to fill the void. It will bring up old traumas. It will bring up your insecurities. Good. Let it surface. This is the mud settling. If you stay with it, eventually the screaming stops, and a profound peace descends. In that peace, you will find yourself. You will remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You will find the infinite ally we will discuss in the final chapter. The answer is in the pause. We are addicted to speed. We want the answer now. But profound answers require incubation. When you are faced with a major life decision, quitting a job, ending a relationship, moving to a new city, do not try to figure it out with a pro-con list. You cannot solve a deep problem with the same mind that created it. Pose the question to your mind, what should I do about this job? And then stop thinking about it. Let it go. Go into the silence. Go for a run. Take a shower. Sleep on it. You are handing the work order to the subconscious. While you are sleeping or walking, the supercomputer is running the numbers. It is checking the files. It is simulating the outcomes. And then, suddenly, when you are washing the dishes, the answer will arrive. It will not be a loud argument. It will be a quiet knowing. I have to leave, or I have to stay. It will be simple. It will be clear, and it will be right. This is the silence of power. It is the confidence to wait for the truth rather than forcing a conclusion. The ultimate freedom, when you are no longer afraid of silence, you are no longer afraid of yourself. You are free. You don't need the TV on to fall asleep. You don't need to check your phone every 30 seconds to feel connected. You don't need constant validation from others to feel worthy. You are a fortress. You are a mountain. The weather changes, storms come, winds blow, snow falls, but the mountain sits in silence. It does not react. It just is. This is the ultimate authority. People can feel it. When you walk into a room carrying that stillness inside you, people will respect you. They won't know why. They will just sense that you are operating on a frequency they don't understand. They are vibrating with anxiety. You are resonating with power. The world is noisy. Be the quiet. The world is chaotic. Be the calm. The world is reactive. Be the deliberate. Silence is not the absence of action. Silence is the preparation for the ultimate action. Now that we have silenced the enemy, rewired the brain, and mastered the stillness, we are ready for the final step. We are ready to integrate everything. We are ready to look at what life looks like when the war is over and you have won. We are ready to meet the infinite ally. Chapter 10. The Infinite Ally. We began this journey with a terrifying premise, that the voice in your head was trying to sabotage you, that your own mind was a traitor, a survival mechanism gone rogue, keeping you small, frightened, and stuck in the comfort zone. We spent 9 chapters waging war. We exposed the biological trap. We dismantled the architecture of fear. We learned to detach, to rewrite the code, and to command the body. We built a fortress of focus and learned the power of silence. But now, the war is over. Look around. The smoke is cleared. The noise has stopped. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are no longer waking up every morning to a debate. You are no longer navigating the minefield of your own insecurities. And in this silence, something miraculous happens. The enemy takes off its mask, kneels before you, and pledges its allegiance. The mind is no longer the master. It is the servant. And as a servant, it is the most powerful tool in the known universe. This is the final state of transformation. This is the state of the infinite ally, the end of civil war. Abraham Lincoln famously said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." For most of your life, you have been a house divided. One part of you wanted to be great, the other part wanted to be safe. One part wanted to work, the other part wanted to sleep. You were driving a car with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. You were burning out the engine, making a lot of noise, but going nowhere. Now you have taken your foot off the brake. You don't need more gas. You don't need more motivation. You simply needed to stop resisting your own forward motion. When the internal resistance drops to zero, your external output becomes infinite. Imagine a life where your intentions and your actions are perfectly aligned. You decide to work out, you work out. You decide to write, you write. You decide to speak, you speak. There is no lag. There is no hesitation. There is no, "I'll do it later." There is a seamless, frictionless flow from thought to reality. This is what it feels like to have the mind as an ally. It feels like you are gliding. The struggle is gone. The grind doesn't feel like a grind anymore. It feels like a dance. The supercomputer came online. Remember the traitor from Chapter 1? The one who used its creativity to invent worst-case scenarios. That same creative engine is still there, but now it has a new directive. Instead of inventing problems, it invents solutions. When the mind is an ally, you can give it a command and it will work on it tirelessly. You ask, "How do I double my income this year?" The old mind would say, "You can't. The economy is bad. You aren't smart enough." The ally says, "Processing. Here are 3 viable strategies. Let's start with number 1. You have unlocked the full processing power of your subconscious. You are no longer using your brain to store anxiety. You are using it to generate genius. Your memory improves because you aren't distracted. Your focus deepens because you aren't fighting the urge to quit. Your charisma explodes because you aren't in your head worrying about what people think. You are operating at 100% capacity. You are dangerous. The reality distortion field. When your mind is fully unified, when you believe in your mission with absolute, unshakable certainty, you begin to affect the world around you. Steve Jobs was famous for his reality distortion field. He could convince people of the impossible because he believed it was possible. He didn't have doubt, so the people around him couldn't hold on to their doubt either. Doubt is contagious, but so is conviction. When you walk into a room with the infinite ally backing you, people feel it. They feel a solidity in your presence. They sense that you are a man who cannot be moved. Because you trust yourself, they trust you. Because you lead yourself, they want to be led by you. You stop chasing opportunities, and opportunities start chasing you. This isn't manifestation magic. It is the physics of social dynamics. The world makes way for the man who knows where he is going. When you stop fighting yourself, the world stops fighting you. The death of the self. Here is the paradox of this journey. We started by obsessing over the self, my potential, my fear, my discipline. But the ultimate result of mastering the self is that you forget the self. When you are fighting a war, you are constantly checking your wounds. Am I hurt? Am I tired? Is this fair?
But when the war is won, you stop checking. You stop obsessing over your feelings because your feelings are no longer a threat. You become transparent. You become a vessel for something higher. The greatest athletes, artists, and leaders don't talk about themselves. They talk about the game, the art, the mission. They lose themselves in the work. This is true happiness. Happiness is not feeling good. Happiness is the absence of self-consciousness. It is being so absorbed in a worthy challenge that you forget you exist. The infinite ally allows you to dissolve into your purpose. You are no longer a person trying to do a thing, you are the thing, the legacy of power. Now that you have this power, what will you do with it? This is the most important question of the audiobook. Self-improvement is not the goal. Self-improvement is just the warm-up. You don't sharpen a sword just to keep it on the wall and admire how sharp it is. You sharpen it to use it. You have built a strong mind. You have forged an iron command. You have learned emotional alchemy. Why? To make more money? To get six-pack abs? To buy a nice car? Those are fine, but they are small games. The infinite ally demands a big game. You have a responsibility now. You have a responsibility to your family, your community, and the world to use this power to build something that lasts. There are people out there who are still asleep. They are still slaves to their traitorous minds. They are living in fear. They are suffering. You can help them, not by preaching to them, but by being an example. Be the lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't run around the island looking for boats to save. It just stands there and shines. And because it shines, the boats find their way home. Be the proof that it is possible to change. Be the proof that a human being can master their biology. Be the living embodiment of discipline and peace. Your legacy is not what you leave for people. It is what you leave in people. The vigil. A final warning. The war is over, but the peace must be maintained. The jungle always tries to reclaim the village. Entropy always tries to reclaim order. The traitor is never truly dead, it is just in a cage. If you get lazy, if you get arrogant, if you stop doing the daily work, the lock on the cage will rust. The weeds will grow back on the mental highway. The noise will return. You cannot own a great mind. You can only rent it. And the rent is due every single day. You must keep the iron command sharp. You must keep the fortress of focus strong. You must visit the silence regularly. This is not a 30-day challenge. This is a lifestyle. This is a permanent shift in how you operate as a human being. You will have bad days. You will stumble. You will feel the old fear rising up. But now you know what it is. You know it is just a biological glitch. You know it is just a cloud passing through the sky. You won't panic. You will simply nod, detach, and get back to work. Conclusion. You are standing at the threshold of a new life. Behind you lies the graveyard of your past self, the procrastination, the doubt, the fear, the wasted time.
Let it stay there. Do not visit the graves. Ahead of you lies the open horizon of your potential. It is vast. It is terrifying. It is magnificent. You are equipped for this journey. You have the map, you have the compass, and most importantly, you have the ultimate travel companion. You have your mind. It is no longer your enemy, it is your best friend. It is your protector. It is your infinite ally. Trust it, command it, use it. The world is waiting to see who you become. Don't keep them waiting. This is the premier audiobooks. If this journey has sparked a fire in you, if you feel the shift in your own mind, then do not let this be the end. This is just the beginning. Subscribe to the channel. Join the ranks of the few who refuse to be average.
Like this video to signal to the algorithm and to yourself that you are voting for strength, not weakness. The script is written. The stage is set. Now, go live it.